Hello, and welcome to the Vlookup tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm assuming you have Microsoft Excel and that you understand how to use formulas in Excel. At the end of this tutorial, you should be able to define Vlookups, explain how and why you would use each parameter in the Vlookup function, distinguish between absolute and relative references in Excel, list the different types of returns you can get from a VLOOKUP, demonstrate how to use filters to view only cells without matches, and describe a real-world scenario where VLOOKUPs would be useful. Let's get started. VLOOKUP is a function in Excel that allows you to compare data in columns to find like data. There are 4 parameters that are passed into the function: the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and the range lookup. We will review each of these later in the tutorial. To help you understand both what VLOOKUP does and its practical application, I'm going to pretend that I'm a secretary in an elementary school. My responsibility each year is to make sure that I have at least one parent helper in the lunchroom for every school day. I can have more than one parent each day, but I have to have at least one parent. I decide that to start the process, I'm going to create a column in an Excel spreadsheet that lists every day in the school year. I can then create a second column that lists the parent helper for that day. Easy enough. Now I just need to get a list of parent helpers to fill out my parent column. So I send home a note to all students asking for parents to send back a list of days in the school year that they are available. I ask each teacher to send a list of dates and names that they collect from their students in an Excel spreadsheet. I have a sample list from a teacher here. My plan is that once I get the list from teachers, I can compile them into a big list of the days that are filled. A week later, I start getting lists from teachers. The lists show me all of the days that are filled by parent helpers. I now have 2 lists, the days available and the days filled. Everything is great, right? I should have all of the information I need. But wait, something is missing. I can't tell which days in the days available have not been filled. Which days do not have a parent helper? First, I try to copy the list of dates filled and place it next to the list of dates available. But there are lots of holes. I can't tell which dates have a match. It would take me forever to add in blank cells to find the matches in the holes. This is where the VLOOKUP function becomes useful. It will compare the 2 lists and find the days included in one list that are not included in the other list. It will find the days without parent helpers. Let's actually create our own VLOOKUP. To begin, I'm going to type the syntax for VLOOKUP equals VLOOKUP. You'll see that I get a tooltip that will show me each parameter that I can pass into the function. There's the lookup value, the table array, the column index number, and the range lookup, which is in brackets. Let's look at each parameter. The lookup value is the cell that you are matching from. It is a single value. In our example, it is each individual date in our list of available dates. The table array is a column or a list of cells that you are matching against. It is a group of cells. In our example, it is the list of taken date. Now we are going to enter the actual formula. We'll start by typing equals VLOOKUP, and then we'll enter each parameter. First, it asks for the lookup value. You'll remember that the lookup value is each individual school date for our example. So we'll select August 1st. Next, it asks for the table array. A table array is the list of dates that have been selected by parents. So we'll select that list. Next, it asks for the column index number. This allows you to select an index if your table array has more than one column. The next value that it asks for is the range lookup. The range lookup is in brackets, which means that it is an optional value, but for this example I am going to enter a value. You'll see that the 2 options are true and false. True means that if there is a value in the table array that is less than or equal to the lookup value, it will return that value. False means that there has to be an exact match between the table array and the lookup value. For our example, we want false. We only want to see a value if there is an exact match. We now have our formula typed and the cell displays 8/1/2014. When a lookup returns a value, it means that it found a match in the table array. So now I'm going to type the same formula in the next cell. But wait, while the function bar reads the correct formula, the display does not display the correct value. Instead of reading 8/2/2014, it reads £n/a. The £n/a value is what's displayed when there is no match for the lookup value in the table array. Next, I'm going to copy and paste the formula all the way down the list so I can see the returns for each cell. But if I look in the function bar for the next cell down, I can see that Excel automatically adjusted my table array by 1 to account for the move downward by 1 cell. This is called a relative reference, and it is not what I want. I want an absolute reference for the table array. To fix this problem, I just enter a $sign before the values that I want to remain static when I copy and paste. Creating the absolute reference tells Excel that I want it to use the list as typed and that I do not want it to correct the formula as I move it up or down. So I can fix the value in this cell and then copy and paste the formula downward, so it will always be the correct formula. My display values now include exact matches and NAs or no matches. So I'm going to add a filter and only select the NAs. That will leave me with a list of dates that have not been selected by parents that I still need to fill. I have also successfully used a Vlookup. Congratulations! You have now completed the Vlookup tutorial. You should now be able to define a Vlookup, explain how and why you would use each parameter in the Vlookup function, distinguish between absolute and relative cell references in Excel, list the different types of returns you can get from a Vlookup, demonstrate how to use filters to view only cells without matches, and describe a real-world scenario where Vlookups would be useful. I highly recommend that you practice what I've shown you. A possible practice exercise is to create a spreadsheet that will compare a list of groceries in your pantry to a list of groceries on your shopping list to determine which items you need to purchase from the grocery store. I also suggest you try to list some real-life scenarios where Vlookups would be useful. You also should try to use an HLOOKUP, which is very similar. If you have questions about Vlookups, the URL for the Microsoft site is listed on your screen, and it is very useful. You can also email me at dribley@emporia.edu. I'd love to hear your feedback. Thanks for watching.